Matthew chapter 10 marks a significant shift in Jesus' ministry, focusing entirely on his commissioning of the 12 apostles and their instruction for evangelistic outreach. Jesus bestows upon them authority over unclean spirits and to heal every disease and sickness. This chapter focuses on the mission, challenges, and cost of discipleship. In verses 1 through 4, we have the naming and sending of the 12 apostles. Jesus gives his 12 disciples authority to drive out unclean spirits and to heal every disease and sickness. The appointing of the 12 is also in Mark chapter 3. The key message is that Jesus is training his disciples for when he is gone. In verses 5 through 15, Jesus gives the disciples specific instructions for their mission. He sends them specifically to the lost sheep of Israel, the Jewish people. They are not to go to Samaria or the Gentiles. They are to preach, "The kingdom of heaven has come near." They should heal the sick, raise the dead, cleanse lepers, and cast out demons. They cannot take any money, extra clothes, or weapons. When entering a town, they are to find a worthy person and stay with them. If a town rejects them, they are to shake the dust off their feet as a testimony against that place. The sending of the 12 is also told in Mark chapter 6. The key message is that the disciples need to trust that God will provide for them. In verses 16 through 25, Jesus tells them that their mission will be dangerous and gives them further instructions. Jesus warns they will face persecution, betrayal, and hostility. He tells them they are to be wise as serpents and innocent as doves. He says they may be handed over to authorities and hated because of him. He also encourages them not to fear because God knows and cares for them. He adds that the Spirit of the Father will be there to speak through them when they need help. He reassures them that those who confess Jesus before others will be acknowledged before God. He warns that family relationships may be divided because of him. The key message is that the disciples have to trust that God will watch over and protect them. In verses 26 through 42, we have more instructions for the disciples, and he goes into some detail regarding the cost and rewards of discipleship. He begins by telling them that they should not be afraid to speak openly. God will give them the words when needed. Jesus says some will face death for his sake, but eternal life awaits. He explains that loyalty to him is more important than loyalty to family. Rewards will be given even for small acts done in his name. Here we have the famous verse that states, "Whoever finds their life will lose it, and whoever loses their life for my sake will find it." The key message is trust in God in all things, and that God will be faithful. There are 5 key themes in Matthew 10. 1. Authority and mission. Jesus empowers his disciples to preach, heal, and confront evil. 2. Dependence on God. The disciples must trust God's provision and guidance. 3. Persecution and cost. Following Jesus may bring hardship and division. 4. Courage and faithfulness. Trust God, boldly proclaim the gospel, and remain faithful. 5. Rewards of discipleship. God honors those who faithfully serve him, even in small ways. Matthew 10 shows Jesus commissioning his disciples to continue his work with power and boldness, but he also prepares them for the difficulties and sacrifices involved. This chapter challenges believers to trust God fully, accept the cost of following Jesus, and remain faithful regardless of opposition, knowing that God will reward their faithfulness. As modern-day followers of Jesus, we too will encounter difficulties and will be called to make sacrifices. We may not have our lives threatened like in some other places in the world, but we still need to ask ourselves this question: am I prepared to follow Jesus wherever and however he calls me?